Hey guys, NikkiPenny here, and today I'm going to take you through a step-by-step guide on how to mutate your dinosaurs on Ark Survival Ascended. For this guide, I'm using the Dino Depot storage mod, and my chosen dinos here are the Velociraptors. We're on extinction. Let's get straight into this, guys. What I have here behind me is 3 Velociraptors, each with stats that I want to put together into one perfect dino. So to do that, let's take a look at their stats and we'll go through. The first step is identifying which stats you want to mutate. So the 4 stats I'm going to be interested in here today is health, stamina, weight, and melee. Each of these dinosaurs have a good stat for each of those. Now, what I'm going to do is identify which stat on each of these dinos I want to combine into one final dinosaur. So on this male here, I'm interested in the 39 stamina. On this female here, we have 53 health. And on this female here, we have 36 melee and 48 weight. So I'm going to name these dinos accordingly, just for easier identification. Right, so now I've renamed all of these dinos. We've got 39S for stamina. We have 53H for health. We have 48W and 36M for weight and melee. Now what I want to do, next step, is combine these stats. I'm going to combine our 39 stamina, first of all, with the 48 weight and 36 melee. So let's put these guys out to breed. Okay, these guys are set to breeding. Once I have a offspring that comes out with the 48 weight, 36 melee, and the 39 stamina, I'm going to go ahead and take a male with all of those combined stats and breed it with the final female that's in my pocket that has 53 health. And now we have our male here with the combined stats of 39 stamina, 48 weight, and 36 melee. We're going to combine that with our 53 health. Now at this point, I'm going to now consider the oxygen and food stats and try and combine into one final dino, not only the health, stamina, weight, and melee stats, but also matching oxygen and food. Now, I don't mind whether we get this female's oxygen or food or this male's oxygen and food. It really makes no difference to me when I'm breeding my dinos, but if you would like, go ahead, include the highest stats. So let's get these guys out breeding, and we will combine all of these final stats into what we will call a perfect male and a perfect female. So after a quick little breeding session, we now have a male and female, both with perfect and identical stats. So let's take a look at these guys. They both came out at level 240, and they both have identical stats in health, stamina, weight, melee, oxygen, and food. So as you can see there, these are both identical. So we're going to consider these our base dinos, and we're going to rename them P female for perfect female. And we're going to rename this one as P male for perfect male. Now you can call them breeder male, breeder female, or whatever suits you best. But for me, I do perfect female, perfect male. Now what I want to do as the next step, so we can begin our stat mutations, is breed these two together and make a lot of females. So I want about, for me personally, 20 is about good for me. So I'm going to breed these guys until I get 20 perfect females, so I can create a pack of breeders. Now let's pop these guys out. We'll set them on breeding. Fantastic. Let's get you breeding, please and thank you. And you breeding, please and thank you. I'm going to let these guys breed for a very long time till they pop me out. Like I said, about 20 females, and then we're going to make a breeding pack and begin our mutations from there. We're back on the other side of all of the breeding, and I have in my Dino Depot terminal over there 20 perfect female babies. So now it's time to set up our breeding pack, and as I said before, you could use more than 20, less than 20. It's entirely up to you, but I'm going to use 20 dinos. So I'm just going to take all of these perfect females here and we're going to set them out. So they are all perfect level 240s, all have identical stats as our perfect male here. So we're going to just start by simply throwing these guys out, and we're going to throw them out quite close to one another, just so that they grow into each other, take up less room, and yeah, it's just kind of a smart way to do it from this size rather than doing it while they're adults. Our perfect females are all grown up and ready to breed. So now it's time to put in our male, and this is where the actual mutations now begin. So we've gone through how to combine all of your stats into a perfect male, perfect female, and now we actually are going to begin mutating our Velonosaurs here. So we're going to put you on breeding, and we're also going to copy that setting across to the rest of the Velonosaurs. So that copied over to 20, which is perfect. So all of these guys are now breeding. As you can see, it's a nice little compact pack. As we go along, these guys will shuffle and move, but you know, they will, for the most part, stay together. So what's going to happen next, guys, is I'm going to let these guys breed for a good few rounds, and my Dino Depot terminal over there is going to pick up all of the eggs. So I will see you guys on the other side of that, and we'll continue with this mutation process. So my breeders have been hard at work, and in my Dino Depot terminal behind me here, I have about 300 eggs for us to crack open and search through for a mutated dino. Now, it's going to be quite easy to identify which babies got the mutation, and the simplest way to put it is 1 mutation equals 2 levels on the overall level of your dino. So we know these Velonosaurs were base level 240, so we're going to be looking for level 242. So let's go ahead and crack open all these eggs. What have we got? 296. Okay. So the terminal's been picking up all my eggs for me, and I'm going to crack all of these open just like so. All right, the last few eggs are getting cracked right now. Fantastic. And my terminal has picked up 332 babies. So there were obviously twins and triplets in there. Now, as I mentioned before, 1 mutation equals 2 levels on the overall level of your dino. So we're going to be looking for level 242. Now, these are all the dinos that came out with mutations. So that's quite a few. It could have been worse, or it could have been more. Now, out of these dinos here, we're only going to be focusing on looking at the males, as it is the male breeding line that I'm going to be mutating along the way. Now, for the purpose of this video, I'm going to be mutating stamina and melee, but you can mutate whatever you like on your dinos. So what I'm going to do is go through each of these and have a look and see if a mutation has fallen on those specific stats. Now, I can see already that the first one that we looked at, this one here, level 242, and next to the stamina stat, which is original stamina stat of 39, we have a number 2 next to it. That is the mutation, and that is how you identify which stat has got the mutation. If we continue looking on, we can see here that this one got a mutation on its melee. So that's perfect. Now, one more thing to note while we're picking these out. So we're going to be taking this one because it has a stamina mutation, and we will take this one. It has a melee mutation. So I'm going to go ahead and rename this to Perfect Male plus 1S for stamina. And this one's going to get renamed Perfect Male plus 1M for melee. Now, a mutation will also indicate a change in color on the color regions. So we're going to talk about this a little bit later down the track, how to mutate colors. But just quickly, it's worth noting that while you're going through and searching for all your mutations, have a look at the colors. If you see any that you like, pull them out, set them aside for later down the track. So now back to mutating stats. The obvious next step is I need to get these 2 babies out, raise them up, and get them ready to be part of the breeding line. So let me get on to that part, and I'll see you guys on the other side. And so these guys are fully raised up and ready to get going with our breeding pack of females over there. So we are going to put away our perfect male. He has done his job. Now we've got our melee mutation and our stamina mutation here. And as you can see, the mutations came with some pretty cool color changes from our first male. Right, I'm going to put out the melee mutation to start. So we're going to now begin stacking mutations. So this male needs to come out. You need to be turned on to breeding, and you also need to then copy those settings across to all the females. Fantastic. So he's now going to be breeding with all these lovely ladies here. And when I have, again, about another 300 eggs stashed in my little terminal there, we're going to go ahead, crack those open, and I'll show you how to identify stacking mutations. So getting and identifying the next mutation in that melee stat. So I'll see you guys when I have a bunch of eggs. All right, so we now have a bunch more eggs for us to crack open so we can look for that next melee mutation. Now, if you remember, our perfect male was level 240. Our first mutation was level 242, and we talked about how one mutation equals 2 levels. So we're going to be looking for level 244 this time round. So let's get over and crack these eggs. All right, here's the last few eggs. And we got 340 out of that. So let's have a look for 244. Well, that's not very many mutations, is it? So we now need to look through just the males. And we're going to look for another mutation on melee. So I'll go through these. There's only 4 of them. So this one here got a mutation into its weight. This one here got a mutation into its oxygen. This got a mutation in oxygen, and we got another one in weight. Fantastic. So that's not going to help us here. We can't use any of these males. I need to go and do a whole nother round of eggs just to see if we can get that double stack. All right, we finally got our mutation. So let me show you. We have these 3 boys. This one has a mutation into STEM, and this one has its mutation into melee. So that's what we're looking for here. So it now says 4 points against the melee stat. That means that it got a second mutation. So the 2 plus 2 equals 4. Simple math, guys. So we're going to now take this one out, kill all the rest. We're going to raise this up. So let's put this baby out to raise up. You can raise right here. Now, while this baby is raising up, and because I want to also mutate the stamina stat, I'm going to put away my perfect male 1 melee, and we're going to put out our stamina. Now, this way I can continue on the breeding process and sort of waste no time at all. So, while this one's raising up, this one's now going to be breeding in the stamina stat. And guys, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be rinse and repeating what we've just gone through. So mutating melee and mutating stamina until I have 10 mutations into each stat. I'm going to bring you back on the other side of that because it's going to take a real hot minute, and then we're going to go through and talk about how we're going to combine both sets of mutations into one dino, and then we'll go through how to then combine with the color mutations. All right, guys, we are back on the other side of all of the breeding and mutating, and now we get to go through the final products. So in my pocket, I have 10 melee mutations and 10 stamina mutations. So let's take a look at these guys. So here it is. Here's our male with 10 melee mutations, and here is our male with 10 stamina mutations. Now, remember our perfect male was a level 240. And as we talked about before, 1 mutation equals 2 points. So by the time I've mutated this 10 times through, that gives me the 20 stat points there next to the original melee stat. And the overall level of our dino now is level 260. And that is the same here on our stamina mutations. So we now have 20 points against the stamina stat, and this is the level 260. Now, we need to talk about how we then combine our melee mutations with our stamina mutations into one more dinosaur, one final dino. And to do this, I created a 10 melee female and a 10 stamina female. And I went ahead and I breeded these guys together. So I bred together 10 melee male with 10 stamina female, and then I bred 10 stamina male with my 10 melee female. I know, bear with me here, guys. It'll all make sense real soon. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these guys out just as I did when I was doing the breeding. So I'm going to put out my 10 melee. That's my 10 melee male. And I bred that with my 10 stamina female. So these two bred. And then what I did separately over here was I bred my 10 stamina male with my 10 melee female. Now, the reason why I did this, and you don't have to do it this way, you can just do it as one pair, but I do the two opposite pairs just so we have a quicker and faster chance of getting these stats combined. So I let those guys breed off together and combine all their stats, combine their mutations, and that leads me to showing you guys our final dino. So we now have a male here that has 10 mutations into stamina and 10 mutations into melee. And now the overall level of our dino is 280 because we've added in 20 points against stamina and 20 points against melee, and our original dino is 240. So that's it there, guys. This is our final dino with the combined mutations, and I also have a female here as well. So that's how you combine them. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as getting your two separate males to mate with the opposite mutated female. It's really that simple, guys. There's no more science to it than that. Now, what I then did, and we talked about this earlier, was color mutations. So I have also gone ahead and color mutated our final mutated stat dino. Oh god, I know this is a lot, but it's once you get it, guys, and you won't ever forget it. So in my pocket, I have a color stack here. So this is a level 240, and it has all of the colors that I wanted in my final dino. Now let's talk about how I achieved this color stack here, how I did my color mutations. So I mentioned earlier in the video that when you get a mutation, it will generally land on one of the color regions. Now, it's worth noting that not all dinos have active color regions in every single region. The Velonicel, however, does, which is one of the reasons why I chose it for this video. Now, what I was doing as I was mutating was I was looking out for cool colors and setting them aside for later. Now, I didn't care what stat got mutated. I was just looking at colors. Now, what I then did was go ahead and breed those dinos together. So I was pulling out males and females with interesting colors, and then I bred them all together to come up with this concoction here. So as you'll see, there is mutations on this dino, but it's not reflected in the stat points. You can't see any mutations there. And that's because what I did was go ahead and breed my color stack dino with a clean female. So one of my level 240 perfect females to reset the stats back to the original stats. Now, in the background, yes, there is a lineage of mutations there, but they're not reflected in the stats. I hope that makes sense, guys. And if you want to know more about color mutating, let me know, leave a comment down below, and I'll whip up another video to explain that part further. But now, you guessed it, the next step is to breed my color stack here with my mutation stack. So that's what I did. I've got here my final velo. This final velo has all of the colors and all of the stats. So it's got its original perfect stack line, as well as its 10 mutations into stamina and 10 mutations into melee. It's a level 280, and let's check it out. So here it is, guys, all the stats, all the colors put together in one dino. So we started off with 3 tamed dinos with different stats, and we managed to combine them all into one, then further mutate it, 10 into stam, 10 into melee, and then we color mutated as well. If you want to see more information like this, if you want more details, if you want me to go into further depth behind the science of it all, let me know. Leave a comment down below. If you want to see more content like this, go ahead, like and subscribe, and I appreciate yous. Cheers. Bye.